Continue. Senator Grassley is next.
I don't understand your equivocation over whether or not these agreements ought to be submitted to Congress, because the Constitution's pretty clear that the power to regulate interstate and foreign commerce is a constitutional power. So if you aren't going to submit these to the Congress for consideration, it either comes from the laws that we have delegated to the president to do in interstate commerce what we ask him to do, because Congress isn't an institution that can do it, or you got to have some constitutional power to do it. Now, I don't want that discussion with you, but I want you to know my opinion on that. When you were in Iowa, you heard about how concerned Iowa farmers are about Mexico's ban on biotech corn. I was glad to see USTR take action with technical consultations. It is now over 2 years since Mexico first published its decree. This seems to be an easy one, and exactly what we included, why we included the dispute resolution process in USMCA. With over 90% of the corn production in the United States planted with biotech seeds, and Mexico being the #1 purchaser of U.S. corns, farmers deserve a sense of urgency from your administration on this. Now, after 2 years and consultation, you put in place this first step that takes to get the agreement going. And I thank you for doing that, and you did it very timely. Now, after you said that all options are on the table when you had your opening statement, there is only one option, and on April the 7th, that's after 30 days, I would expect you to file a formal dispute settlement. Are you going to do that?
Well, Senator Grassley, you speak on this issue loud and clear, and I hear you in terms of your expectations. We are in the process of the technical consultations, and just to be clear about what technical consultations mean, that means sitting down at a table with Mexico and pressing Mexico to come forward with the scientific basis for the aspects of its decree that impact our biotechnology agricultural reports. So, Senator Grassley, I will keep you apprised of how the current consultations are going, but you are absolutely correct about the rules under the USMCA, and that 30 days after the filing of the technical consultations, we have the option of moving forward. Let me stay in very close contact with you about next steps.
Well, if you don't let the Mexican government know right now that you're going to institute that, you're going to continue these conversations for the 2 years that they've already gone on, and they're never going to end. You've got a process that has an end to it, and that process needs to be instituted, and it needs to be instituted on April the 7th. We've been talking for 2 years.
You are absolutely right that we have those tools for a reason, and I assure you that it is not my intention to allow this to go on indefinitely.
On to another matter. In your testimony, you mentioned that your agency will monitor the practices of other trading partners to ensure U.S. agricultural products are not subject to unfair, unjustified, and discriminatory restrictions. Last month, I led a letter with 9 other senators around President Biden meeting with the President of Brazil. Just a week prior to that meeting, Brazil reinstituted a 16% tariff rate on U.S. ethanol. While Brazil may want more sugar access, they already have access to the U.S. with duty-free ethanol imports that qualify for renewable fuel standards in California's low-carbon fuel program. This is unfair, it's unjustified, and yet President Biden made no mention whatsoever that I know of about the new tariff when he had the chance. So I'm happy that you're focused on work-centric trade policy. Then can you work with me to end the unjustified increase in U.S. ethanol tariffs?
I'd be happy to. I also would like you to know that I was in Brazil 2 weeks ago, and that my chief agricultural negotiator will also be following up on this particular issue, and that I most certainly did raise this on my trip to Brasilia.
In regard to whether or not you're going to have free trade agreements or not, and I don't understand why those two words are something that the administration never wants to utter. But you're talking about having certain talks with Kenya, UK, and a couple other countries, and you call them robust discussions. Robust discussions are not good enough. So my last question is, do you plan to pursue concrete market access commitments in any of the frameworks and initiatives that you're pursuing?
So, Senator Grassley, I'd like to take this opportunity to say that I remain and we remain open-minded with respect to the more traditional approach to trade agreements. However, with respect to each individual partner that we negotiate with, and with respect to the U.S. economic and world economic situation, we want to make sure that our trade policies are tailored to the needs of the relationship and the needs of our economies. At this moment, we do not have tariff liberalization negotiations going on with a partner. However, I want to indicate to you that I remain open-minded that when it is fit for the partner and the times, that we are happy to do the right thing by the U.S. economy.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank my colleague. Senator Cardin's next, Chairman of the